Lord Jesus.
All right.
You go to church this morning?
The Urban Impact Show is sponsored by Green and Wood Media Services. Green and Wood uses digital media to help businesses, political campaigns, and organizations grow while increasing their community impact. Green and Wood Media is pleased to offer a digital media buying fellowship to train, develop, and mentor young people interested in digital media, politics, and advertising. Learn more at greenandwoodmedia.com.
Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Black excellence, black beauty, and black pride. Black power from all diasporas coincide. Progressive truth and regression eventually collide. May the beauty of the people no longer be set aside. May the black queen's grace continually mesmerize the millions who couldn't see it when looking into her eyes. And the black man's plight no longer be the disguise. Oppression, emasculation, they wanna castricize him. Take him away from the black queen, put him inside prison for slave labor, he institutionalized. Wondering on the outside, is she willing to ride? Is she willing to ride? Is she willing to fight for the love, even despite the fact that he doing time? Love that conquers all will never fade with time. If she don't choose the love that appreciates every life, his flame might get dim and he may eventually. When looking into her eyes, and the black man's plight no longer be the disguise.
Is that?
Yeah.
I don't know why your name's not coming up on me though.
Maybe I've done something to my profile.
And welcome to the Urban Impact Show. Thank you so much for watching. So we have decided that all month of October we are going to talk about politics, and we are going to discuss what is happening in our political world, what's happening in this political realm. And this is not just a conversation about Iowa. I got an inbox the other day, and they was like, well, you know, you got people in Chicago, Florida, Texas, and other places watching this, so, you know. So shout out to all of you all watching. We are bringing on candidates that are local for this month, but we encourage you to look up the candidates that are running in your area. So thank y'all so much. Do me a favor, take a moment, share. please share this live feed right now. We want to make sure not only are we having this conversation with just us, but also that these candidates that are getting ready to come up, that their message is being spread far and wide as well. So thank you all so much. And let me hand it over to my two lovely co-hosts, Miss Luana and Miss Dwana. Don't get them confused.
Hello, everyone. Dwana Bradley. I want you all to take a good look at this shirt. Just stare at it for a moment. It will be the last time you ever see me in this shirt. I graduated from Iowa State, but I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Congratulations, University of Iowa. What is it, 6-0 now? I just want you to know I can play the game too. You'll never see this again. But congratulations, University of Iowa. It is exciting to see that. I was not a part of that game, but it looks like everyone had a good time. So welcome to the show today. We are looking forward to talking to candidates. I love this. I am a school board member, and I love having these conversations, and I love to see that we have Black folks running to be on school board. That is a great thing. That's where change happens. I'm going to turn it over to Luana, and we'll get this show started.
Hello, everybody. So good to see you. I've missed you all, and I am so excited about today's show because voting is where we make all of our changes. Everything that you want to see, from how much you pay for a pop down to, if you're like me, how much taxes on your cigarettes. So when we have representation, then we know that we are on our way to change and progress. So I am incredibly excited about this entire month, and especially for the candidates that we have today. All right, let's get this show on the road.
We are going to get this show started in just a moment. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be back with our school board candidates. The Urban Impact Show is sponsored by Green and Wood Media Services. Green and Wood uses digital media to help businesses, political campaigns, and organizations grow while increasing their community impact. Green and Wood Media is pleased to offer a digital media.
Black excellence, black beauty, and black pride. Black power from all diasporas coincide. Progressive truth and regression eventually collide. May the beauty of the people no longer be set aside. May the black queen's grace continually mesmerize the millions who couldn't see it when looking into her eyes. And the black man's plight no longer be the disguise. Oppression, emasculation, they wanna castricize him. Take him away from the black queen, put him inside prison for slave labor, he institutionalized. Wondering on the outside, is she willing to ride? Is she willing to ride? Is she willing to fight for the love, even despite the fact that he doing time? Love that conquers all will never fade with time. If she don't choose the love that appreciates every life, his flame might get dim and he may eventually.
And welcome back to the Urban Impact Show. I am Luana Nelson Brown here with my co-hosts Dwana Bradley and Rob Johnson, and we are extremely excited to have with us today a school board candidate running for school board in my area, actually, Johnston, Iowa. We're a suburb of Des Moines, and so excited to have Leah run. This is Leah Williams, who is running. Out in my area, school board is pretty hot and heavy right now, wouldn't you say? Since 2020, we've had some real interesting things happen in our district around our school. If you're not from Iowa, you may not know that things like critical race theory has been banned to be taught in our area, and our district hired a equity coordinator, black man, Lewis Fountain, shout out to Lewis, and we got backlash. So we had to hold a large rally out in our area. And Leah and I have both been very instrumental in ensuring that equity happens and our kids get what they need. So we are excited to welcome Leah Williams to the table today to talk about your candidacy. So my first question is, I know you do a series of videos and they're educational because a lot of people don't really know what school boards do, right? So I wonder if you could share a little bit with us about what school boards do and why you decided to run. I'm going to hand you this mic.
Okay. School boards, their function is to hire superintendents. They help develop the curriculum, just the base of it. And then as a school board member, they're one vote on a board for different aspects. So like if your school district is getting larger, they would be the ones who assess, do we need a new high school? So they're going to look at what it takes to create that and go through, when they go through their financials, they're going to go through, I've said assessments already, but that's the gist of it. And you asked me about my TikTok. You wanted questions about the TikTok?
No, I want to know questions about you. Who
Me?
are you?
Who am I? Okay. Well, first, I'm Leah. It's spelled Lya, so I make sure everybody knows that off the bunt. Like, to not call me Lya. Mom of a third grader in Johnston. I have been active in our school district since he was in kindergarten on the PTO. And through our principal, I got involved with School Improvement Advisory Committee, and that's when I learned about school board and got more involved that way. And the question just kept coming up, like, why am I not seeing anybody who looks like me? I'm from the South. I'm from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and I'm used to having a community. And in Johnston, I get it. It's not that big of a community out there. However, it doesn't mean that I don't want my voice heard or I don't believe representation matters. And I come from an engineering background. So I've been used to being the only Black female. And I knew, for me, again, representation. How can I get more of us into these fields? That gave me an opportunity to move from North Carolina to Maryland to Iowa. And it doesn't have to be college. We can go in trade schools.
Right. I love that. Any questions from?
Okay. Just share a little bit about kind of what you've seen going on in Johnston, you know, if elected to the board, you know, what are some changes that you might make? Just some of the, if you had your wish list of things for Johnston, what are some of the things that you would like to see?
Okay, back to STEM. I would like to see more of an increase of getting more young women, more underrepresented population into STEM, like Corteva, and it's not Corteva. Like, I found out today, we went to a meet and greet earlier, and there was an engineer there. And what did she do? She got her daughter involved in robotics. Why aren't we having that more at the elementary level and getting students encouraged that way? Why aren't we finding ways to make it feasible? If I had it my way, I want to have STEM workshops to allow all students to have access to just, you know, broaden their horizons. The next thing I had was a student reached out to me about climate change. I would love to see our city look at ways they can use photovoltaic cells to, like, maybe power up our cell phones or our iPads. Those are practical ways, and that's a way to get us further into using resources that we have. That was a part of what I did in my career. I worked with natural resources. And I want to see more teachers. I want to see more admin. Like, Lewis coming into our district was significant, but imagine how much more. Like, having a conversation with my own son, he is now encouraged not only to be an engineer, he wants to run for school board. He even told me he wanted to use my logo because his name is Amir. So the fact that I'm inspiring my son, I know that's inspiring another person who doesn't get to see themselves.
So historically, only 15% of the population of registered voters actually participate in school board elections. They pretty much tell you through school board elections, through the numbers, that people never really pay attention to it. What can we do to help people, first of all, get involved, and why should people even care about school board elections?
Well, first, I would feel like your social media platform, that helps to reach people that you can't meet one-on-one. Because of COVID, you know, a lot of things have been restricted. Another way or why people should be informed is when you look at during COVID and the way the current school board is going through being fussed at because people are saying, hey, let's wear a mask. do you really want people who don't even believe that it's a disease, so to speak, being the ones to encourage your kids, or people who don't even have children in the district, pushing and propelling that? So when you look at that curriculum, you know, wasn't it not too long ago where they were passing off that becoming a slave was being an indentured servant? Do you want truthful information being taught to your kids or not? But curriculum is set up by our school boards, and we want to make sure that the truth is still there and not getting whitewashed.
And not to mention, your taxes go towards your school district, whether you have kids in the district or not. 36%. Thank you, Rob. 36% of your taxes goes towards your school district. And so you really want to get involved because you want to make sure your money is being spent wisely, being spent on the things that need, you know, that the community wants, and not something like, as Leah said, you know, people who don't have a vested interest, you know, in your district do. And any other?
I just have a question, is how do you navigate the negativity that can happen in campaigns? I know that people, you know, I think about Johnston and I'm reminded of Ankeny and even West Des Moines, and there are people within those cities that don't like to see people like us running for those elections. So how do you navigate the negativity to still keep things positive, knowing that you're still a human being and people are bringing that to you? So how do you navigate through that?
The biggest thing is I take rest. Like even today, I had to contemplate, was it more important to be here today to be seen, or do I go and take a rest? But I know I can go rest after, but just giving those breaks. Luana and I do a lot of fire pit conversations at times where you just get to do that. We create a safe space around us. I mean, even when I worked in my career, I needed that safe space, because when you don't have that place to come back and vent, it's going to get balled up and it's going to come out. Thus, like I've been saying recently, either make room for me on the school board, I can be a bigger, you know, bigger voice, untamed. But I really rest, and then I have my faith. I use my faith as my means. I bullet journal. I'm a knitter. I use other ways of doing that, but be honestly, it's hurtful. Like, how do you deal with someone not treating you human? Like, I had an incident in our community, and the best thing I could do was just come back out, and as everybody said, I smile. I just know I can defeat you better if I just smile and know that, hey, you know, there's karma, I believe, at some point, and the door swings both ways. And then I spend time with my son and my husband. Like, we have a day where we just do nothing but family stuff. It's not going anywhere, and that's why I figure if I could build my community, the more that I build my community, the more I have more people I can reach out to.
I love that you asked that question, though, Dwana, because a lot of people don't know, out in Johnston, Leah and the candidate we have coming next have both received hate mail. I've received hate mail, and I'm not even running for anything out there, and it's real. And if it wasn't important to vote in your school board election, then we wouldn't be getting this kind of pushback. And I know Rob wanted to say something.
Well, no, I just wanted to echo that because it is very important that our viewers understand that people who are running for office put a lot on the line. They put finances on the line, names on the line, character, representation, all of that stuff is on the line. And so people have to remember that when these candidates are running, you have to show them grace just like you would want them to show you grace. And so please be kind to our candidates. Understand that they are human just like we are. These aren't superhuman beings just because they're running for office. And let's remember to respect our candidates, give them an opportunity to respond, and listen to what they have to say. Don't just jump just because you heard something that somebody else said from somebody else. That's absolutely ludicrous. Let's understand that these are candidates, and obviously we want them to answer questions. We want them to show up, but still, if they don't, we all understand that life happens. They have children, they have jobs. The school board don't even pay. The school board don't even pay. And I don't even know how long. I think it's 2 or 4 years that they got to sit there. They got to. They gotta go for 4 years. And so at the end of the day, people, please understand. And one last thing before we transition from Leah to Tiara is so Luana mentioned that 36% of our tax dollars go to school board. Our school board members will play a major role as COVID continues to be a global conversation. So remember that as you're deciding who you want. And one last thing is representation matters. Leah, final thoughts before we transition to our next candidate.
Here today. I've been going through a lot of interviews, and this was even more comfortable, so I appreciate it. Representation matters. Again, it's like having a safe space today, so I appreciate your platform. Please go out and vote for me if you're in my Johnson School District. I'm on Facebook and on Instagram at leoforjohnsonschools.com, and encourage people to get out here and vote. School board elections have become more vital than city council elections, and we're on a general election platform, so that's making it tougher. The focus has been on school and not so much on city. So, thank you.
Your website?
www.leahforjohnsonschools.com, and it's LYA Johnston JOHNSTON.com. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
We'll be right back. Thank y'all for watching. Press the share button. And welcome back to the Urban Impact Show. You just heard from Johnston School Board candidate, Miss Leah Williams. Please don't forget to go out and search her social media and her website. And now we have the lovely Miss Tiara Mays, aka It's Amazing. Absolutely excited for these two candidates to be on the ballot. I just mentioned that representation matters. I have had the opportunity to work with Ms. Tiara Mays through Investing in My Future, which is an organization that helps to provide not only financial opportunities to our youth, but also to expose them to opportunities that they may not have just growing up in certain areas. For example, college tours, mentors, professional opportunities, networking opportunities, and so we are super excited. That organization is ran by the awesome Miss Mary Wells, who we will have on this show, who is our first black treasurer, Polk County treasurer, and so we're excited. So we will be having her on this show as well. And so Miss Tiara Mays has put her hat in the ring because she wants to represent Johnston on the school board as well. One thing I love about her story is her children, how she really focuses a lot around her children. And I'm not going to tell the whole thing because I definitely want her to share some of that, but I'm excited. I will throw out the first question. It's really the same question that I asked Miss Leah Williams, and that is, give me your thoughts. 15% of the population of people will pay attention to school board elections. Somebody would arguably write a thesis statement to say people don't care, and that you're running for a seat that folks won't pay attention to. You get left behind, forgot about, and you show up every day for the next 4 years, every time you're expected to, and then nobody really cares until it comes down to a question of if kids should wear masks or not, right? And so, but there's more to that. So please give us your thoughts. Introduce yourself and give us your thoughts on why should people even care that people are running for school board.
So, well, first I'll introduce myself. My name is Tiara Mays, and I am running for Johnston School Board. I grew up in the Des Moines area. I'm a proud product of Des Moines Public School District. I believe in public schools. I believe it's a great equalizer for all of us, even with the barriers that can be put in place for Black students, for brown students, disabled students. It's an equalizer that we have to use that function to be great. To your question, so, COVID will eventually be over. And right now, this is a unique election because of the COVID aspect. Who wants to wear a mask? Who doesn't want to wear a mask? Civil rights issue, whatever they want to throw out at us. But this is a 4-year seat, and we don't want to make long-term decisions off of a short-term problem. So as Luana mentioned, our taxes, for one, that affects everybody, whether or not you have a child that attends a public school or not, you're going to pay taxes to support that. I often tell people, my children are my retirement plan. I mean it. You're going to go to school, and I've been working for y'all for 18 plus years. You're going to take care of me. So, I truly believe that our kids are our future. Our future is in their hands. As we get older and we step out of the leadership roles, we want them to roll into that and have the access and the resources to be able to run the country one day, to run the world. So that's another reason why it's important. And then, it's extremely important because, as I mentioned, even though public school may be a great equalizer, we do have barriers, and those barriers often come to Black students, which is unfortunate. At everything, we always come last. And somebody has to be able to sit down and say, okay, yeah, 70% of the district is doing great. They're doing fine. Who's going to speak for the 30% that they keep leaving out of the conversations? So that's why I believe the school board elections are vital, because COVID will be done in a little bit, and, hopefully, fingers crossed. But then there's other issues that we've got to tackle.
Yeah, I think I also want to raise the question that I brought up before, is how you handle the negativity. I've seen the post, I've seen the horrific things that, people have said, all for putting your name out there to want to be a part of change. So how do you deal with the negativity that is thrown your way when you're trying to do something that is very positive?
Sure. Yeah. When we got the first email, I will not sit and say that I was a pillar of strength. I was blessed to be with my family at the time. And it came through on my phone, and all I saw was the N-word, and I'm like, what? And then I go check the email, and after that, having my family there with me and having their support, at first I was really afraid for them. I knew what I was walking into. They supported me and they loved me in that. And I felt bad for putting us in that situation. The way I'm handling it now, though, I'm a visionary. I really am a very futuristic thinker, and I can see myself clearly in certain places and spaces. And I see myself being on the school board. I see myself making change, and that keeps pushing me. That's how I can get through the long nights. That's how I can get through going to back-to-back events. Leah does have to keep me from pulling our calendars. And I'll go from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and without her, we'd be doing everything, all the things. So, finding that balance with maintaining my family life, my faith, knowing that I have a great deal of support and people that are praying for me behind the scenes and praying for us and what we're doing. So that's how I'm handling it. I see where our change is going to come. And with that gives me motivation.
Sorry to snatch that from you. So there's another thing that you and I both have in common, and I know that it's part of your platform as well. We are both parents of children with special needs, Black boys with special needs, with disabilities, I should say. So tell us a little bit about how your baby inspired you to make this move as well.
Sure. So really when I first started thinking about joining the school board, it was because I couldn't get the district to really sit down with me and create a plan that worked for my son. My kids, we've been in the district for 7 years, so they've started school there. And his kindergarten year was just, it was tragic, honestly. First off, my kids are twins, so they're starting off kindergarten together. And my son went to preschool in the district, and so they were familiar with his needs, and that would have really been a great thing, but it turned into being something else. So kindergarten starts and they tell me that they're separating my children. I'm a single parent. How am I getting how am I getting to kindergarten at the same time in two different buildings? That was the first thing. The second thing is why are you sending my child to a different school? And the explanation was that this school has a program that fits his needs. And I'm like, oh, great, that's wonderful. Where's the brochure about this program? It didn't exist. And I was asking a lot of questions, can my son go to school with his sister? No, she can come to school with him, though. Well, that's not where we're zoned at. That means that I have to provide transportation for my kids. It was a lot. The teacher that they had for him in this special program, kids with, autism need structure. The teacher that they hired, she was pregnant when they hired her. And, nothing wrong with that. I am a woman. Nobody should have to pay the mommy tax, but we knew she was going to be out. Exactly. She had her baby and she never came back. My child went the entire year without actually having a teacher. Wow. So this program that they said was going to be beneficial for my child actually turned into a very unstable environment for him, having substitute associates every day. I wasn't aware that he wasn't going to his general education class. And on top of that, the district has what's called our community education. Or in community ed, what they do is they provide extracurricular activities for our students, and then they also provide before and after school care. They gave my son a 1-week trial, and said, yeah, we can't accommodate his needs. So I sat down with the superintendent, the principal of the school, the director of the community education program, and I'm like, well, what can we do to make this happen? Because I have to go to work. Oh, this will be great for the future. We're taking down all of your, all of the notes and things. And I'm like, yeah, but what does that do for me now?
Right.
And then to learn that there are other children that are allowed to go to KTC without, having to go through all these ropes. At no point did I ask them for free care. I asked can you provide him with a one-on-one associate? Right. We're even willing to pay extra for it. So the result in that really was that I had to work part-time that year, and we virtually went bankrupt. And, you know, these are the things that, first off, for those that live in the area and understand Johnston houses Child Serve, which is a system that helps children with disabilities. So for the district to not have these types of things in place, a mechanism in place already, I found unacceptable, because that's actually why we moved to Johnston.
Yeah. Okay. I got to jump in on this one.
Go ahead.
Because that's where you and I connect. And I had never heard the entire story before. Because your baby is what grade now?
4th.
Okay. So my baby is 9th grade now. And I have, you know, that when he was that same age, I had the exact same issue. My child was also not allowed to go to the community ed program, and I ended up leaving my job and having to move into low-income housing because of it. So this is why people should be concerned, because we're two able-bodied, educated Black women who could contribute to the economy, but because we don't have resources for our children, our entire economy suffers. Not to mention our whole families, right? And so between 9th grade to 4th grade, that's 5 years, nothing. So this is still happening in our district. And this is why representation matters. This is why we need people who are experiencing these barriers, who look like us, to come on the school board to raise these issues. And you're right, a lot of us moved to Johnston because of Child Serve. I moved there because of Child Serve. I lived in the Des Moines area, but when my child was diagnosed, I moved to Johnston so it would be easier to get his therapy. So when you have hundreds of families moving to an area for a service being provided in the community, for children, there really should be those resources for those children in the school. Sorry, I jumped on my soapbox.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And so the end result for us is that because I was going bankrupt, basically, I had to make tough decisions. And our final decision, because based on my son's diagnosis and the severity of it, he now is in what's called community inpatient living. So he goes to a public school in Altoona. Great program. It was a good decision for our family, but I was forced into it. Right. I had no choice.
So I want to switch just a little bit, because I feel like a lot of the people who show up to vote, they're gonna vote what they know. It's status quo for them, right? They're gonna show up and they're gonna look for a name that they recognize, that they are comfortable with, and that's what they're gonna vote for. And so my question to you, Tiara, is really what do you believe you'll add to the board? Like, if they say, you know what, all right, let's vote for her and put her on the board, outside of just the advocating for other students, outside of the trying to make sure that things are equitable, what will you add to the board to make it better?
If you watch your local school board meetings, they are, outside of the COVID conversations, they're actually pretty dry, pretty boring. There's nothing to it. But when you have the hot topics like this, what you want board members that are going to speak up for you. Our target market, I'm very customer service driven. So, the customers we're serving are students. You have to speak up for them. One thing that I noticed with our board is that there is 1 or 2 very vocal board members. And despite where they lie on issues, I appreciate the fact that they actually talk. They actually are talking to parents, and they are coming back to the board meetings and saying, well, some of our citizens are, talking about this. That's where I want to come in, because right now there's a feeling that it is just kind of status quo. We're just going to show up and we're just going to go through the motion. We're just going to go through the agenda, vote yay, nay, and going to go home. those meetings should probably last a little bit longer than what they actually do if people were talking and cared about the issues, that even if it's as simple as sending the band to Sioux City for a conference, like actually talk about it, vocalize it, and make a decision that's informed.
What conversations do you have with your family? I think the one thing I know about being a board member currently now is that a lot of times people's frustrations and anger is not just geared towards me, but it's geared toward my entire family, to the point to where I have to be very protective over my kids. You know, they still my babies, no matter how old they get. And I'm always having to be protective of them. And people don't know that, you know, when we do these things, we do them because we want to serve, but also our family are not the point of conversation or targets, or should be made of that way. So, you know, what conversations do you have with your kids, your family, just as you prepare them for what could be you being in this position, and knowing that at the end of the day, people are going to come after you, but they will come after your family as well. So what kind of conversations do you have?
Yeah, I've had to have some conversations already with my daughter, because some parents have found it necessary to send messages through their kids to mine. Mm-hmm. One mom told my daughter's friend to tell her, "Oh, well, we're not going to vote for your mom." I told my daughter, I was like, "You tell her I'm not going to vote for her mom either." Not on the ballot. I'm not a politician. I'll be the first person to admit that I'm not a politician, and the conversations that I'm going to have with my daughter is, and the rest of my family, is that, one, we're always going to stand up for what we believe in. My mom taught me that at a very early age. You're going to stand up for what you believe in, and if you know that my vision is something that falls in line with our family values, go to bat for it. You go to bat for it. You be respectful. You treat people how they're supposed to be treated. We're always going to be respectful, but you are also going to make sure that they understand that the Mays family stands for something. So.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. It has been fantastic to have both you and Leah on. Wait, were you going to say something real quick, Rob?
She's got to give her information. That's it.
Oh, yeah. Please give your information.
Okay, so my website is tiaraforjohnston.org. Also on Facebook, and that is Tiara for Johnston as well. That's on Instagram also. Simplest volunteer opportunity of the campaign is to be a part of the Share Squad, and basically that is just let us borrow your virtual real estate for a couple of weeks. We need you to share everything that you see on your page, and you know, on November 3rd you can delete it, but until then, you know, just share everything so that our names can get out there. I call Rob my sensei because he's a teacher, so like he's marketing. We got to market ourselves, so if you can help us with that, that's great. And I appreciate the opportunity to be here, so thank you.
Absolutely. Remind us when voting is. What day?
It is Tuesday, November 2nd. Polls close at 8 p.m., I believe. Yep, 8 p.m. So get to the polls. You can't vote in Johnston, vote in your local city election, because it's November 2nd everywhere.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. And a quick final word. Representation does matter. In Johnston, we've got 3 open seats. And so we are pushing hard for these 2 seats with these 2 women. And you heard why. You heard all of the excellent reasons why today. There's a statistic, and I might get it wrong, but I'm almost positive. If a Black student encounters 1 Black teacher, their chances of going to college are increased by, I believe it is 30%. That is a huge impact just for 1 teacher. And so imagine what the impact has if we have 1 or 2 Black people in positions of power in the decision-making positions of school board. So now we're moving beyond a teacher into positions of power. And you heard Leah say earlier, her son wants to now run, right? And so I'm so incredibly thankful and grateful for the 2 of you for joining us. Any quick final thoughts, or are we good? No.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to let Tiara step out, and then we'll be back with our final thoughts on this whole political thing.
Thank you.
train, develop, and mentor young people interested in digital media, politics, and advertising. Learn more. The Urban Impact Show is sponsored by Green and Wood Media Services. Green and Wood uses digital media to help businesses, political campaigns, and organizations grow while increasing their community impact. Green and Wood Media is pleased to offer a digital media buying fellowship to train, develop, and mentor young people interested in digital media, politics, and advertising. Learn more at greenandwoodmedia.com. I have another meeting here. Well, I'm running late. I'm like, well, it's not close to 7.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
All right.
That was smart to have it here too.
Yeah, I was like, you don't have.
And welcome back to the Urban Impact Show. I'm Luana Nelson Brown with my laughing co-hosts, Dwana Bradley and Rob Johnson. And if you were joining us, you just heard from 2 school board candidates out in my district, Johnston, Iowa, Tiara Mays and Leah Williams. We applaud the 2 of them for their bravery. If both make it onto the school board, they will be the first ever Black school board members in our area. So it's always hard being a first. We're here with final thoughts, and I just want to thank our viewers and thank our candidates for their bravery and for what they're doing. And remember to go out and vote, especially if you're in my area on November 2nd. So I'm going to pass it to Dwana.
All right. Look at that. She kept it short and sweet. We was already banking on Luana making like maybe a 5-minute statement here at the end. So see, she proved us wrong. She proved us wrong.
You see the abuse I get on the show right now.
I want to thank everyone for being with us and just really raising your voice. It is so vitally important to have Black folks running to be in office. Being someone that currently serves in office, I know that the road is not easy and there's many days you become frustrated. And if you're like me, I say every day that I'm done normally because it gets to be so much, but I'm still here. And I do want to encourage our viewers to make sure you go out and vote. I know we've talked about it last week, but your vote is so important and it's so crucial and critical, especially for a time such as this where we've got so much chaos and craziness going on and, you know, people are spouting their own truths. We're not treating folks like human beings anymore, but we have 2 individuals that you just heard from today who actually care about what goes on in their district. And so I'm asking you to show up in Johnston to be with them next week. I believe we have the Des Moines Public School Board candidates that are coming. I'm really excited for that because if you don't know, we have 5 seats up for election in Des Moines, and that is large. And so it's important, Des Moines, that you show for that up as well. But I want to make sure that you all continue to take care of yourselves. I don't know if y'all know this, but it was World Mental Health Day today. So just want to tell everyone to make sure that you're continuing to take care of yourself and your well-being, and know that we here at the Urban Impact Show care about you.
There has been a long period in our history where people of color have been oppressed, downtrodden, talked about, lied on, beaten, hung, violently attacked. In this history, now here we are in 2021, where you have people who are looking to make not only just a change, but a difference. We're not looking to impress, but to be impactful. What I'm getting ready to say is not the views of the Urban Impact Show, its leadership, nor of my co-hosts or of the candidates that showed up, but of mine. These 2 women were called niggers. And I say the word and I let it sit because I need you to understand how that made them feel. How you just felt when I just said that. Think about it when they were called it, how it made them feel. Think about these women who are sitting right next to me, who are out advocating for our babies, for domestic violence, for mental health, when they're called out of their name just for simply trying to make a difference. So please, I urge you, those who are watching, let's spread these positive messages. Let's spread these words in a way that people will truly begin to understand that that type of behavior is no longer allowed in this place. We won't accept it. It's not okay, and you can no longer just hide behind keyboards, because words have power. And so we're going to use ours to please ask you to show up to vote. The only way we can create real change is when we create real policies. And that's done by putting real people in these places. Thank you for watching the Urban Impact Show. But always remember that you are loved and that you are worth it and that you are important. We look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.